Welcome to Fixing Assets. And you may remember these clips from when the Beetle was in France last year. Now, unfortunately, the Beetle hasn't done anything since it was in France last year, mainly because I tried to take it out and the alternator had gone and it threw a spark plug out, which, as you well know, isn't ideal for the operation of a car. So, the main aim was to get the Morris working for this year. Morris worked for this year. So now we've got a Beetle to resurrect. But it's been sitting. Okay, so that tyre's flat. So that'll be one thing I've got to get sorted. We'll put some air in, see if it holds it. Then I want to make sure that there's oil still in the engine and give the fuel lines a check. They actually don't look too bad, to be honest with you. What's that? Yeah, that's a bit of a crack. I do need to change the fuel line to get it started. It'll be fine. That's ridiculous. I've only had that fuel line on a couple of years at most. Okay, so tried two different power supplies. So I've had to park the car like a complete bell. Battery's not ideal, is it? It's actually not too bad, so hopefully it'll stay up long enough to do what I'm doing anyway. I don't think the tyres are that old, but it has been flat, so I don't know. 22nd week of 2021, so yeah, quite new actually. That's used to be good. Right. Back to this. Yeah, there is some oil in there, so I think it should be okay to start on that. So yeah, fuel line should be okay, just for testing purposes. Very dried out, so when the engine comes out, fuel lines will be changed over. There's another line up there I usually check. It's the next day and I think that battery might be duff, so I think I'm going to go and buy a new one. Just taking the scenic route back. Nice to be driving out in the sun at last. Yes, that is Quebec. So we've got the new battery. I've removed the old battery. I've got some petrol. I think it's about time we actually played around with things and saw what happened. Right, so the battery's in place. Regular viewers of the channel will remember I have to get on my knees and hammer the starter to give it a kick up the arse. So I'm going to do that. Once I've done that, we'll see if it turns over and pumps oil, and if it does, put some petrol in it. Okay, so it's out of gear. Excuse the mess. I've got 2 lights on there. Obviously that's not going to be of a great deal of help. Okay, so we've got the wheel off, put a jack axle stand under there, taking the starter motor off, got this, 2 bolts off, 2 bolts on, job's a good one, Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt. Right, incidentally, had it on this charger, that battery on this charger for a week. It's now up to 7.5 volts. So put it on the car 12 volt thing, and it's saying it's full too. So I think that battery's definitely broken. Good job I bought a new one. Anyway, we'll go back through to here and we'll have old starter motor, new starter motor. New starter motor is actually a new one, but I've taken it off the engine for the other Beetle. So just a couple of bolts. That one is one of the ones holding in the engine. Right, so this new starter motor is in place, but the bolt at the top, don't know if you can see that, but the bolt at the top, if you try and put the nut on it, it flies out the back, so you can't get to it. So I'm having to try and borrow a finger for someone to put the finger on there. I do up the nut, and then that should be ready to test, apart from obviously the 2 wires. Yeah, right, that's done, so we'll just try and start him up. Bit of brake cleaner in the carb. And that there is the bruise from trying to get do the bolt in the engine bay. So yeah, So yeah, that's the Beetle started. So the next step is to move it along and into the garage so I can take the engine out. So like and subscribe and tune in for another episode of Fixing Assets.